Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. You're just gonna have to get used to me doing recaps, I think, because it is January 14th today. I just completely forgot to vlog the last couple of days. I've been, well, busy. Yesterday I was fighting a little bit with technology issues. Same theme continued today, but I'll get into that in a second. First of all, had the first lab. Kind of did it together though, for the most part. There was some stuff they left up to us, which was interesting. There was just a lot of forms and stuff that they're trying to teach us how to use in case we need to use them. That was kind of interesting. Made it a little bit longer just because there was extra stuff to use. And then, frustratingly, our so the system we use to do our printing of our labels, so the software we use is called Kroll, and then we have to use it through a virtual desktop through the school. And sometimes it has some technological issues, like anything when you're dealing with a lot of technology. And today it decided it didn't want to connect to our home printers. So there is a few workarounds around this, but it causes you to have to do a lot more steps in order to get your actual label. My first kind of impressions of this was, oh my goodness, these extra steps are so annoying. However, I was taught a different way to kind of get around it in my computer class that I hadn't remembered was an option. And I may end up using that for the labs, being that we don't actually often have to print out the labels from what I understand and then attach them to the hard copy prescriptions like we do in our computer course, which will save ink if I can do it that way. So it's cheaper. So I may end up switching to that format when I'm doing that lab class. Let's just say it might have been a blessing in disguise. I'm gonna go with it anyway. I actually came down here because I want to grab my one binder that's over here that's got my filled out information on there. And we have our first drug quiz on Thursday morning. And so I just want to review some of the stuff I haven't looked at in a few days. I feel like I'm kind of getting away with stuff in this first section just because we did have to know names and classifications and stuff to a certain degree for micro. There are some things like brand names and stuff that I'm not used to that I gotta look up again. I may have to adjust my studying after this. I think this quiz is only worth like 1% of our final grade. So to be quite honest, I'm not really that worried. It's going to be more of a kind of test to see, am I giving enough time to the stuff? The answer to that is probably no. Overall, minus the technology stuff today was one of my favorite days because the amount of time we spent using the software system was a majority of the day and filling prescriptions and doing that kind of stuff. It was really nice, actually. Like, it's like my favorite part of the whole thing, which if you don't like filling prescriptions, you're in the wrong program in this case, because that's one of the big things we do. Pharmacists often do the initial steps so that either a technician or assistant can actually count it out, like fill the prescription, and then either a tech or another pharmacist can actually check that prescription. The reason why a lot of pharmacies who have registered technicians have pharmacists first is to get that clinical check out of the way. And then once that is done, they can actually do the final check and actually hand it out to the patient. If they were to the one to fill it, it has to go to a pharmacist at like some point. And like filling prescriptions is a big part of the job, but honestly, I think a lot of pharmacies use their registered technicians to do the final technical check, so they're not actually probably doing a lot of filling. But it would depend on what all is happening and how the workflow actually works at your pharmacy. The checking of prescriptions, I will admit, is something that scares me because, like, right now I have that cushion as an assistant that somebody is always coming behind me and checking my work. So if I miss something, somebody's gonna catch it. When you're a technician, you don't have that luxury. I managed to actually get a decent amount done in my 3 to 4 hour today. I got a lot of stuff done the last night. I handed in all of the forms that I've gotten done and back so far. So the only thing I think I need is my confirmation of internship from SCPP, which I gotta wait on them for that. Hopefully, I was one of the initial ones and I'll get that quickly. Because if it gets too close to the due date, I'm going to be very stressed out about that. All the other forms and stuff that I had to do are done. So that I felt like I got a lot of stress off of that. The biggest things that are on the go right now are this pharmacy products class, which I knew was going to take a lot of energy. It's becoming the anatomy and physiology of semester 2. The bonus is we get a non-prescription, basically OTC class that's exactly like this. Monday, Wednesday, because we have lab twice a week, which is very weird. In university, you have lab once a week. Our first kind of independent one is on Thursday. Practice, 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 using all the resources and doing it over and over and over again will make it that much easier to do, and it'll get to be more of a system, and I'll figure out kind of what works best for me and hopefully speed up with time. That's generally how I tend to go about those and develop a systematic method for figuring that stuff out. And we start our legislation course tomorrow. I have to admit, I'm nervous about the legislation course. I know, like, I struggle with reading legislation. I know that. I struggle with memorizing legislation. I mean, I get to be familiar with it the more I'm exposed to it. Like, so there's certain things that have been repeated multiple times. So it's just like, okay, well, that's not horrible. But it's just like the amount of documents. I would say our reading this semester is really heavy too. Our safety course has like so many documents. It's open book, but that means that they're probably going to be testing us on different things in the documents. It's going to be more about how do you can you find this information? And that's what frustrated me about 182. Can you find this information in a time-based way, basically? I just am trying to keep the pace because, you get to a certain point in the day and you're just wiped. Because it's like, sometimes 6-7 hours of lecture, and then you need to do an hour and a half for prepping for the lab for the next day. I miss my free time because, like, when I work, I go work, do my job, and come home, and I'm done, and I get to do whatever I want, basically. But when I'm in school, it's not quite that simple. It's a lot easier than when you have a bunch of tests all in one spot, but it's still not the easiest thing to do. You can't really film in the pharmacy, like, regulations and legislation. It's a privacy breach, so like I have to be really careful on the stuff that I share on here because this is a public thing. Everything that I talk about that is details is already available online for the public to look at. Hi everyone, happy Wednesday. I just finished doing my pre-lab stuff for tomorrow. And so right now, I'm just gonna go into another class and just grab out my drug list thing that I need. Okay, so tomorrow I have a test on just the naming of things and stuff like that. I'm not too concerned about it. It's only worth 1% of my overall grade, so if I happen to do really bad on the first one, it wouldn't be a big deal, but it would be nice to be able to do okay on it. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm just going to print off this one sheet just because it shows the drugs up until the end where I need it. So I'm going to take this with me so that I have the reference. And so I guess I'll update you on today. So today went fairly well. Got another group project. It was going really, really rough, and then finally got an idea we could come up with and agree on. It's just a lot of the projects, in my opinion, were like not very, how do I word this? Not great for like a group effort kind of deal. So we've decided on something, and I think it'll be an interesting discussion. So it's 4:30 right now, and I've been working on my pre-lab stuff for probably about an hour and a half or so. So I did actually show working on that at least a little bit. And so what I'm going to do to simulate privacy is to blur out the screen is what I'm going to do. So it's going to show me working, but you guys aren't going to be able to read the screen, which blurs out and follows privacy in a way that makes me more comfortable. I may not even look at this because I said I was going to look at my other sheets last night and then I didn't end up doing that. So I'm not too concerned. Apparently this quiz is only takes us about 6 minutes. It's matching with a 1% final on the like 1% of my final mark. I can fix things really fast with that without diving too much into it. So I do need to start looking ahead though because I do got a couple of tests next week. I've got, I think, my safety course and my management course. So I am going to have to do a little bit more studying. Once I'm done the lab tomorrow, it won't be too bad. Although the lab is starting to become a little bit, like the documentation is starting to become a little bit easier. Busy day, long time in classes again. It was 6 hours today. But you know what? This isn't as bad as it was last semester, it doesn't seem like, because I'm not going until 4 o'clock very often right now. So it's nice. What I want, like, I mean, it's 4:30 now because I've been working on stuff for like an hour and a half already, a little longer than that. We actually got out of class a little bit, about 15 minutes early today, just because we were working in our groups. The pre-lab stuff, I think, will get a little bit more challenging once I have a lot of stuff I need to do. And it'll get more challenging as the prescriptions get more difficult. Right now, we're only doing like antibiotics. So, like, it's often just calculating day supply or total amount to dispense. It's not usually like anything too crazy after that. I don't usually take many breaks so that I can finish earlier in the day. That's kind of what's been best for me because I like to be able to have time to do a workout on the days that I want to do a workout, which is probably going to be like Tuesday, Thursday during the week, maybe Sundays. Not this Sunday though, because this next Sunday I've got a lot going on, so I won't probably have time to do a workout. Hey everyone, happy Thursday. So it is like not even 11 o'clock and I am actually done for the day. So we just had one class this morning and then lab. The lab didn't take me as long as I thought. The prescriptions right now are fairly easy, so it's not that hard. But it is kind of nice because I am starting to find a little bit of a flow now, like including the documentation. I do keep the template in front of me, but I'm pretty happy about how I'm doing with that because I was really struggling with it all along, so that was kind of nice. Sorry if I seem a little tired. I am kind of tired. It's been a long week actually, and it seems it's been a little slower than normal. So what I'm gonna do now is for the next hour before lunch, I'm going to continue on doing these sheets for my prescription products class. We did quite a bit of content this morning, so I have a feeling it's gonna take me a little longer than that to get through it, but I have this full afternoon. And then after that, I'm gonna look at my schedule, but I feel like I need to be studying for a couple of tests next week. I'm gonna have to probably go back to flashcards though for my products class. We had our first drug quiz this morning, and I struggled a little bit with brand names, so that's not surprising. I recognize generics a little bit easier, I think, because we in Canada often see generics quicker than we see the brand name a lot of the time. Like for anything that can be generic, it's generic. So I think that's just going to be a matter of me seeing it. My first impressions of doing a lab by myself, I like them. Honestly, it's really good. I think I figured out how I want to make cards into this. So as you can see on here, kind of there's like, and they're divided into sections. So I think for each category, I'm going to make each thing into a section. So like class suffix, if there is one, and then examples of this, and then dosage range, and then a card for the action. And then I'll just do that. And then that way I can actually study and kind of make the cards actually half decent, I think. I'm actually kind of keeping up with this course, at least with doing these sheets, but I will need to take some extra time and make the cards. Sooner I do that, the better, because I need to start studying those. Hey everyone, happy Friday. I just thought I'd come on here and end off this week's vlog. I just actually jumped out of the shower, got out of the shower, however you want to word that. I'm really tired today. I slept right to my alarm this morning, and it's been one of those days where I just feel like having trouble waking up. Now, I think some of this is I'm really, really close to having my period again, so it's probably a little bit of that. There's lots going on, a lot of information being thrown at me, kind of like what I expected, and like I said, my favorite day is probably Tuesday, just because there was so many hours spent, like, practicing filling prescriptions and stuff like that. Not so much in this, typical lecture type of thing. And I think as the program goes on, it gets to be more and more closer to what you actually are like and when you're working. At least that's what I've been told, so I'm hoping that that's the case. I'm gonna study for probably another couple of hours, and then I'll have to stop because I do work at 4 o'clock. I've kept my work towards the end of the day still, even though I could actually have one in probably for like 1. And I think 3 hours every week minimum is good enough. I think that's good enough. And then every other week I work the weekend, so it's fine. Although it's nice to be working, I don't want to be putting too much extra added pressure on myself. I'm just working on this course that is asynchronous work, but I'm done the asynchronous work for the first unit test. We do have like slides and then supplemental information online as well. So I've been going through that, kind of determining what the most important stuff is and making my own notes off of that, of like key points. It's kind of nice to have that extra information to go along with my slides. It's like you have the lectures in written form rather than just the slides. But yeah, it's already 1:15, and like I said, I have to stop around 3:30ish. There's another class too where I do have an open book test next week, but it's a lot of like, so what I'm gonna do with that is I'm going to combine the PDF and then make a second PDF of where to find everything. That worked really, really well for my courses that were open book for finals last semester. So that's what I'm gonna be doing for that class. That's my safety course. I am feeling it though. And like I said, I don't know if that's because of like the way I woke up this morning or being close to my period, or it's just I'm just a little bit tired. I don't really know. It could be a combination of, and it's probably a combination of everything. But as usual, if you guys are enjoying my content, do subscribe, hit the like button. It helps me reach more people that might be interested in taking a program similar to this. Doesn't have to be this particular one. You can do any across the entire country and have a very standardized education to become a pharmacy technician. I mean, I'm going to be a little bit biased if people were to ask me, but I don't really have experience with other programs. It's good to raise awareness. And like I said, pharmacy technicians and pharmacists are becoming some of the most accessible healthcare professionals in the entire country. So I think it's important to spread awareness about everything that they can do for the population, especially with our massive doctor shortage in Canada. As for now, that's it for this week, and I hope to see you again next week. Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.